Already today's city challenge, the SCRS loud, mandatory headshots, Armera Arsenal, and less health. So it's less health combined with SCRS, which is not really a great combination since ideally we would have more health, but aside from that, there's mandatory headshots, which means that we would ideally have a CHA, but it's also Armera Arsenal, which means that not only do we not have a CHA, we don't have anything that's anywhere close to being a CHA. So we're just going to take care of you over there, and then we'll just go through here, side you over there, and then afterwards see where the technician goes, which so far we could barely guess, but seemingly it's going that way, which we're just going to take note of, since Cyber's going to have the keycard now, and then afterwards we're just going to go through here, all the way through here, and hopefully not meet any guards over here, which seems fairly unlikely, but it did actually happen, so we'll just go through here now, and then afterwards we'll breach this over here, which is kind of how this works. So we'll grab the keycard over there, we'll use this reader over here, and then afterwards we're going to just not start a hack, since there are Aegis units roaming about, and we kind of don't want an Aegis unit, well, holding up a shield, shooting at us, and also going to the box and disabling it, which is rather interesting because it would mean that they can do 3 different things at once, which I would classify as rather terrifying. So we're just going to take up the units behind. We'll take care of you over there just because you're right in front of me. And then once we're done with that, we're just going to wait for Cyber to essentially tell us that the Aegis units are down, and then we're just going to go and start a hack over there, which... Hi there, you. Anyone else? Apparently a lot more than a few people, which is certainly slightly terrifying, but now that Cyber has told us that the Aegis units are in fact down, we're going to go over here, and then we're going to start switching the hack over here. And then afterwards we're just going to defend their back, or alternatively, when we can, their sides, which... maybe not doing that in that case, but we could always do that to some extent, and then afterwards do that over there, which seems perfectly valid. And there is an F57 over there, which I am very, very tempted to get, but unfortunately does not seem like a very, very viable idea. But we're going to heal up first, since we would once again like to remain alive and not dead, since that's less good of a thing. And I would say that that's a great time to go outside, but there is currently an entire squad over there, which we would ideally not encounter. But we do have an F57 now, which is great and all, just that the door over there is still not actually open, which is less great and all, but presumably Cyber's got a handle over there, so we're just going to go over here and then just bypass this over here, which might take a while, but hopefully no units shot behind me, which, even though it's highly unlikely, is very, very much possible. But we're going to for now get this bypassed over here. We're going to swing this door open over here, and things are going to be, for some reason, awfully calm, which is definitely slightly unnerving. But for now, we'll get the search open, and hopefully we won't meet any units that are going to be right over here waiting for us. So right now, effectively, our goals are to just stay alive, since that's kind of how this works. And then afterwards, we're just going to wait. I mean, that's generally how this works, so we're just going to watch Cyber's back, because Cyber's going to be covering that side and that side. So, in other words, a lot of things, which are not really that easy to cover. So we're just going to leave it over here and try and make their job as easy as possible by just covering these 2 sides, which, you know, once again, very, very rare sight, much, much more common sight, but equally threatening if it's shows from behind sight. So the other thing that we're going to do is, if any units drop over there, we might just go for it and try and make sure that they don't actually stop the hack, since that's kind of not what we want. So, in other words, hopefully it doesn't happen. If it does, then, well, that's not a good thing. So, whilst we for some reason have some impeccable accuracy with the shields, we're going to consider starting to move, since right now seems like an absolutely great time to do so. As we quickly check for, hi there you, as we heal up right now to stay alive, and then post up over here to just watch out for any units, which, I mean, sure, we'll swap around over here, and then we'll try our best over there with units over there, because that's kind of not what we want. So we're just going to swing this door over here, watch Cyber's back over here, and then afterwards get this door open over here, and then try our best to take care of those units over there, which it seems to be one unit peeking over there in rather comedic fashion. And right now we're just going to run across here because it's, quite frankly, the best time to do so. And then we're going to go through here and then hopefully not encounter all that many units over here, because if that happens, we're going to be here for a rather questionable time. So we're going to take care of you over there. We're going to try our best to get across without being dead, so we're just going to do that. And then we're just going to go over here, back down over here, take care of that over there, try and actually hit a shot, which is rather questionable at best. And then try our best to make it across over here, since seemingly no one's actually paying attention, but that's kind of a good thing now. So we're just going to go over here. We're going to use this over here, and then we're just going to start a search over here. And maybe, just maybe, there's going to be the armory right over there, which would be absolutely fantastic. But very well might not happen, which does not happen. So it's going to be rather terrible now because it's not the armory, and that's not that great. So for now, we're just going to stay over here, try our best to do our best to just have some decent vantage points, and then afterwards, well, seemingly there's an entire squad right over there, which Cyber might not want to immediately run into, and just let them, well, disable that for now. So as we desperately try and stay alive by healing up real quick, because we just got absolutely demolished by a series of bullets, we're just going to try our best to continue staying alive. And even though we have a questionable amount of ammunition, we still have our MM20, which we can leverage on to make some of these shots from all the way across over here put on the shield. Or we could try and do that, because we are evidently not hitting our shots. But right now we're going to stay out of the gunship, which we will hopefully encounter and subsequently deal with relatively soon. By just doing that, and hopefully we won't have any units that are right behind us, because that's kind of not what we want for staying alive. So presumably Cyber's going to be roughly watching our back. And then we're just going to do that. Return more bullets that way. Trigger the second missile. And then once we're done with that, we're going to get, well, essentially out of here. So when the gunship finally goes away, which still paranoid about units behind me, we're going to, well, have Cyber go over here, and then we're going to subsequently get out of here, which is all in all quite important. So that's the daily challenge in just under 7 minutes and 45 seconds. Cheers everyone, have a great time!